McNeil, 6 points. McNeil splitting Charlie Waters, 41, and Mel Renfro, Tarkenton drilling it on target.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Welcome to the Gridiron. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below, maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, now the Patrick Graham has gone to the Raiders. The Giants have been busy little beavers, you know, little, I guess, Zoom meetings or whatever with a couple prospects. Also, they do plan on interviewing a couple other guys. Now that someone said Patrick Graham's dream job was the Giants, I guess now with his dream job is now the Raiders. But it is what it is. They did, you know, last year they did a decent job. I mean, you know, their offense was absolutely unbelievably pathetic. But I mean, for the most part, their defense did a nice job. Nothing super duper unbelievably spectacular. They did a nice job. It was a shame because I mean, you know, 2020 they were like a top 10 defense. I mean, had no edge rushers or nothing. They had like 40 sacks. I mean, they needed a second cornerback. They had no edge rushers, and they got 40 sacks. They were top 10. I mean, wow. I mean, really, really. And 2021 when they added, you know, Azeez Ojulari. You know, we got Adoree Jackson. You know, we actually got a second cornerback in there and all and everything. Things certainly were, you know, we got Lorenzo Carter back. You know, Oshane Ximines came back from injury. You know, we drafted Ellerson Smith. You know, we got Quincy Roche from the Steelers. You know, so I mean, you know, things were looking, you know, going to look good, you know, and they seem to take a step backwards. So it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's when you got somebody like Patrick Graham, you know what I mean, and in 2020 he does a very good job. And he's like, you know, he does good. You see he can do good. He's like, you know, he's like your guy. That's my guy. You know what I mean? It's tough to lose somebody like that. I mean, that's one of the things that I hate. You know, it's a business. It's all about this. I get it. You know, it's just tough because, you know, like with so much turnover the teams have, you know, the players and not only that, but the coaching staff. I mean, one year you got, you know, I mean, 2020 we had like 2 offensive line coaches. You know, I mean, you know, this year we had 2 offensive coordinators. You know, guys come and go all the time, so it's tough to really get a, you know, good, you know, I don't know, feel for somebody being on your team. You know, like, yeah, that's my guy. You know, it's when somebody's there for like a year or 2 and then they're gone. You got somebody else and then they're, you know, just the way it is in the NFL nowadays. But you know, there's a lot of good defensive coordinators out there. Some are young and upcoming, and there's quite a few of them out there that have a lot of experience. And one of them's got over between NFL and college has got over 40 years of coaching experience, you know, so, yeah, so there's going to be some good quality, you know, people to choose from. So, I mean, whoever they want to pick, I mean, as I said, I mean, between Shane and Dable and all, you know, Buffalo's got a good defense. You know, how they built their defense and all, they got a really good defense, you know, so Shane, they know what a good defense looks like, you know what I mean? So I think whoever they wind up choosing is going to do good for us. You know, it may not be Patrick Graham, but I think they're just going to do good for us. Now, the first one they had was a virtual interview, which I saw was with Titans. I've seen all different kinds of things. I've seen like 3 different, if you go to Wikipedia, Jim Schwartz. He's a senior defensive coordinator. But also on the same Wikipedia page, Jim Schwartz was hired by the Tennessee Titans as a senior defensive assistant. So one says a senior defensive coordinator, and the other spot on the same page says senior defensive assistant. So he wasn't a defensive coordinator. You know, he was like a helper. And he was like an advisor, shall we say? All right. But so he wasn't the defensive coordinator. But the Titans this year, their defense did a very good job. You figure, they're not in a juggernaut division by any stretch. You got the Houston Texans in there and the Jacksonville Jaguars in there. All right. And then the Colts. The Colts are not a team. The Colts have got it, but they got the good defense. So they're not a team that's putting up 35 points every week either. Yeah. So that helped their numbers. But their defense did very, very well this year. Considering they lost Henry for quite a few games. They got Ryan Tannehill. He's not. They don't have Aaron Rodgers. They don't have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. They don't have Tom Brady throwing the ball. It's Ryan Tannehill, right? So so their offense is only so potent. But I said their defense did a very nice job. And Jim Schwartz, where he has gone, he has had some success without question. Now I remember him from two of his stops. One was he was coaching the Lions, and then the other one was when he was the defensive coordinator of the Eagles from 2016 to 2020. That's when they wound up winning the Super Bowl. He was their defensive coordinator. He started out as a coach in 1996 with the Ravens. So we're going back, like over 25 years ago. So he started his coach in the NFL in 1996. So guy's got a lot of experience. All right. He's been with the Titans two different times, from 1999 to 2008. And let's not forget, in 99, they went to the Super Bowl. They lost. It was a great game to the Rams. But so he went to the Super Bowl, and then came back in 2021. He was with the Bills. He was their defensive coordinator in 2014. He has there's no connection with him, Shane or Dable, because they didn't come there until 2017. Or actually, Dable was there in 2018. Shane was there in 2017. So he has no connections with them. In 2014, with the Bills, their defense ended up fourth in points allowed for the season with 18.1, and fourth in yards allowed. They only gave up 312 points yards per game. So they had a winning season. They missed the playoffs, but they did very, very good. Then he was with the Eagles. All right. Not only did they went to the Super Bowl, but they wanted to win the Super Bowl, and his defense got much, much better. His first season, after this is the thing. When his first season with the Eagles, he implemented the 4-3 defense. The Eagles went from the year before, they were 30th in yards allowed and 28th in points allowed. All right. He comes in and they go from 30th and 28th to 13th in yards allowed and 12th in points allowed. Then his second season, they went to 4th and 4th. Fourth in yards allowed and 4th in points allowed. So the dude gets, right, he gets results. I said they went to the Super Bowl. They wound up winning the Super Bowl. So he's done some very good things. One thing I remember, this was in 2012 when he was the coach of the defense, the coach of the Detroit Lions. In 2011, when Jim Harbaugh took over as the coach of the San Francisco 49ers, remember 2011? The Giants and the 49ers played in the championship game, and also, that's when the 49ers started. They had the good defense, and they started really playing good. Well, the following year in 2012, both the Lions and the 49ers both started off 5-0. And for the Lions to start off 5-0 is something else. Well, Schwartz was the head coach of the Lions. They played a game in Detroit. the 49ers won, I think, by a touchdown. At the end of the game, Jim Harbaugh was like he was so excited, he was all fired up and everything, and Jim Schwartz went over to shake his hand, and I think Harbaugh just took his hand like this and just slapped his hand real hard and shook it, just kept going, didn't even acknowledge him or something, and started just walking off. Usually it's like, hey, have a good, congratulations or something, whatever. Maybe you look in each other's, whatever, for a second. No, Harbaugh was jumping up and down. He slapped his hand, grabbed it real fast, and just walked away. I don't even know if he said anything to him. Well, Schwartz didn't like that. So, so as Harbaugh was kind of walking away, Schwartz got a little pissed off because it was an emotional game. They were both 5-0. The Lions wound up doing good that year. They wound up in second place. They wound up making the playoffs. But it was an emotional game, and Schwartz didn't like that. So Schwartz started getting into Harbaugh's face. He started, after Harbaugh started walking away, Schwartz was he was pissed off. So he went over to Harbaugh. He's I started chest bumping him or something like that, and saying something to him. I don't know what the hell it was, but I always remember that. That was funny. That was really, really funny. But the thing is that we're talking about with Schwartz. Maybe what he implements is a 4-3. With Patrick Graham, we've been doing the 3-4. So now the thing is that now all of a sudden, you start changing stuff up. Now, the middle linebacker is very important. I mean, not that that's not important before, but I mean, you might only have one linebacker. Now are you going to get rid of Blake Martinez and put Tay Crowder in there full time? Ooh, Now, your two outside guys, they're important. Now you're going to have to get a lot of depth on the front. Instead of just having maybe three defensive linemen, the way they made, with Danny Shelton and Lawrence and Leo Lyon, and maybe having 2 or 3 other guys. Well, now you got 4, so you might want to have 7 defensive linemen, maybe 8 on the roster. Maybe 7, but you're going to need to have maybe an extra guy there. So, so if you bring somebody like him in who changes it from a 3-4 to a 4-3, you're going to start, changing up your personnel. So, I mean, that's something like that is going to be huge as far as who you're keeping, who you're letting go, who you're going to be drafting. So, I mean, that's huge. That's why they want to talk to these guys and bring them in. So if Schwartz winds up being the guy, things are going to start changing a bit. The other one, then there was also a report that the Giants interviewed Pittsburgh Steelers defensive assistant Terrell Austin for the job. He started his NFL coaching career in 2003 with Seattle. Now, he was there from 2003 to 2006. Now, he's got a little theme kind of going on here. All right, well, same thing with Schwartz. Right? With Schwartz, he was with the Titans. Schwartz from 99 to 08. 99 Titans went to the Super Bowl. He was also the defensive coordinator for the Eagles from 2016 to 2020. With the Eagles, they went to the Super Bowl. Now with Austin, he was he's with the Seahawks from 2003 to 2006. 2005, the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Steelers, but they went to the Super Bowl. Then from 2007 to 2009, he was with the Cardinals. 2008, the Cardinals went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Steelers, but they went to the Super Bowl. He was their defensive backs coach. All right, and I said they went to the Super Bowl. Then from 2011 to 2013, he was the Ravens. He was their secondary coach. 2012, they went to the Super Bowl, and they won. That was 2012. They wound up beating Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Good game. So I mean, there's a little theme going on there. Got my son's dog down there chewing on a bone, making all kinds of freaking noise. If you hear that, I'm sorry. That's my son's dog chewing on a bone. But after from 2014 to 2017. Austin was the Lions defensive coordinator. Now, the first year or so he was there, they did pretty good. Then they started coming back to earth a little bit. He was the Bengals defensive coordinator 2018, Austin was. 2018, he didn't even make it through the full season. So he's had some good and he's had some bad. This past couple stops, like what I said with the Lions, he had a little bad. The first year, 2014, they did good. I think 2015, they started coming back down to earth a little bit more. And then after 2017, he was gone. He went to the Bengals in 2018. He was the Bengals defensive coordinator for not even one full season, because the Bengals became the first team, I think maybe the only team in NFL history that gave up over 500 yards of offense 3 straight games. And after the 3rd straight game of giving up over 5, they just let him go. It was like in the middle of November, so he didn't even make a full season 2018. So, I mean, they wanted to let him go. So that wasn't very good. And I think that after that, that's when Anarumo went with Cincinnati. But so in 2019, 2021, he's been with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I mean, he's doing a decent job with the Steelers. So they're just asking, they're just doing an interview with him. Now, neither Schwartz or Austin have any kind of connection at all with the Giants, Dable or Shane. So a lot of the stuff's all up in the air. Now that the one guy that they're going to bring in, I believe, for an interview, this guy has been kind of like the front runner all along. As long as Patrick Graham did not want the job, or wanted it, and now he's going someplace else, wherever. But I mean, as long as Patrick Graham did not take the job as the defense coordinator of the Giants, the front runner I've always been reading has been Don Wink Martindale, the former Ravens defensive coordinator. Now, Martindale, from what I'm reading, as I said, he seems to be the favorite for the job. We'll just have to wait and see. He spent the past 10 seasons with the Ravens and the past 4 seasons as their defensive coordinator. Now, this past season, they had some problems. They had a lot of injuries. His first 3 seasons, they did really, really good. His first 3 seasons as the Ravens defensive coordinator, the Ravens finished in the top 3 in points allowed. Right, so I mean, the guy, is good. I mean, they got some good talent on the team, no question about that. But he's a good defensive coordinator. This past season, they had some problems, and him and John Harbaugh kind of bumped heads or whatever. They kind of mutually, I guess agreed. I don't know if he got fired or what, but or Martindale was wanted resigning or whatever it was. But they had a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball. So I mean, that's one thing that really, really hurt the Ravens this year. If they weren't so banged up, they were just just below the injury level of what the Giants had. So they had a bunch of injuries. But on their defense, with their injuries, what they wound up doing is that, their talent, wasn't quite as good because of the injuries. You got a second stringer in there, or a third stringer maybe in there. The talent level's not as good. So instead of maybe in the secondary leaving guys in there, to fight for themselves, play man on man or he decided to send more pressure to put, to try to, cause the other team to, make faster decisions and all that, and hopefully disrupt them, maybe create more turnovers and all that. Well, that didn't really wind up seeming to happen. This year, the Ravens gave up a lot of big plays, and that really, really hurt them, and I think that might have been one of the reasons why Harbaugh was a little ticked off, and, Martindale's no longer with him. So he decided to, I guess, send a lot of pressure, and it just wasn't working out. So that's why he's a free agent right now, and that's why possibly the Giants might wind up signing him. Now he has no connections to the Giants, no connections to Dable, and no connections to Shane either. Then they plan on interviewing Sean Desai. Right, his only NFL team that he's been with has been with the Bears from 2013 to 2021. Now he's a free agent, right, because the Bears fired Matt Nagy and Desai was not retained by the Bears. So they just, I don't know if they let the whole staff go or whatever it was, but they didn't wind up re-signing. I mean, like what the Giants were going to do with Graham. They fired the coach, but Graham did a very good job, so they were going to keep him. Well, I guess they didn't decide. They just decided not very interested. They weren't very interested in keeping him, so it is what it is. Now, with his promotion to the defensive coordinator, it was a little interesting. Desai became the first person of Indian descent to become a coordinator in the NFL. And I don't mean like American Indian. I mean Indian from, the continent of Africa. Indian descent. So that was pretty interesting. He comes from the Vic Fangio coaching tree. And Vic Fangio, he's the one who has over 40 years of all-around college and professional coaching experience. So Vic Fangio is a very good defensive coordinator. The Bears' defense did not do great last year. Part of that was because it's like the Giants kind of thing. Their offense was not very good, but also they only had like 2 of their like presumed starters to actually play every game last year. So they had a lot of guys, that missed a lot of time. Like Hicks missed some time. A bunch of their guys missed time. So I mean that's another thing. Wound up kind of really kind of hurting their defense a little bit. But I mean their defense played very well last year, very well last year. But now he has no connections at all to the Giants. No connections to Shane. No connections to Dable either. So whoever they wind up picking is going to be pretty much it's going to be like the best of the best. Not like, well, I like this guy and I feel comfortable with him too. No, I mean, there's none of that. They're not bringing anybody over from the Buffalo Bills organization or anything like that. There's going to be somebody out there, who they feel will do the best job. And I said, there's also, you got Lou Anarumo, is a possibility. Vic Fangio is still a possibility out there. You got Mike Zimmer, who does a very good job as a defensive coordinator too. He's a possibility now. I said, they're going to go with one of those guys and older that have a lot of experience, or they're going to go with maybe up and new coming kind of guy. Well, we'll just have to wind up waiting to see. But you just know, I mean, just if they had a couple interviews, maybe virtual interviews yesterday, right? I don't know if they're going to have the virtual interviews today or what, but today's Sunday, so you got to figure probably either, I don't know if they're going to bring somebody in maybe for a second interview or what, but you got to figure by probably Monday or Tuesday they're going to have the new defensive coordinator of the New York Football Giants, because they got to get them in, because they got to start looking at tape, who they're going to keep, are they going to change from a 3-4 to a 4-3, what are they going to do, who they're going to keep, who they want to draft, because Shane's got to start working on getting rid of some guys. Have to be some cap casualties. So it's very, very important for them to get the ball rolling on this and get somebody in here within the next couple of days. Now, as I said, who's it going to be? What I'm reading is Don Wink Martindale seems to be the favorite, but we'll have to see. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!